Hey there, and welcome to my next video. I'm going to be doing a recipe for Jamaican jerky, and I'm showing you the recipe right up front. I was out of allspice, so I looked this up on the internet. I'm sharing with you this mixture that makes allspice. So it's nutmeg, cinnamon, and cloves. The recipe calls for top round, but I just use chuck roast because we like the fat. I get a bowl that's about the same size as the roast before I start cutting it up. It calls for lime juice, but I only have one, so I'm going to have to improvise the rest with lemon juice. It calls for vinegar, brown sugar, pepper, and salt. Also onion powder, which I made my own in another video, the ground ginger, cinnamon, and then this combination I already told you about to improvise for the allspice, the cayenne pepper, the paprika, and garlic. I get out my cutting board and a sharp knife and open up this lime. I am going to try to squeeze out as much juice as I can get, but again, I know I'm going to need more, so you see my lemon juice over there. I'm going to try this old-fashioned citrus squeezer thing. This is all I have, but again, I'm going to use this lemon juice to get it up to the half cup. 1/4 cup white vinegar, 2 tablespoons of brown sugar. I had the black peppercorns out there, but I decided to get out my finely ground black pepper. I felt like it would go into the meat better while it's marinating. So 2 teaspoons of black pepper, 2 teaspoons of salt, 2 teaspoons of onion powder. It calls for thyme. I was out of that as well, so I didn't put that in. So on the ginger, 2 teaspoons, 1 teaspoon of the ground allspice, and again, I had to use these 3 things to make my allspice. So I'm gonna try to just put them together on this teaspoon, kind of little makeshift thing. So it's not perfect, but I got the 3 things: cinnamon, nutmeg, and cloves. 1 teaspoon cayenne pepper, half a teaspoon of cinnamon. It calls for smoked paprika, but I only have this regular, so that's what I'm going to use, half teaspoon. It calls for 4 cloves of garlic, and here on the back of the jar I'm showing you that it tells you how to measure that out. That's about everything, so I start stirring it up, slosh it around a little bit. I'm going to put the lid on it and stick it over there in the fridge just so it can kind of sit and let the marinade itself, all the flavors blend. In hindsight, I wish I'd have left it out on the counter so the brown sugar could dissolve better. Now I'm going to start working on the meat. Like I said, it's not top round. This is just like a chuck, for a pot roast. And so that's it. I got that from Kroger, if you care. I've got the meat all cut up now. I sliced it like it calls for, about 1/4 inch. See, it does have a lot of fat, but it's going to taste better that way. But I'm going to try to take off some of that fat, and then I'm just going to start putting the pieces in on their side so it can soak up as much as possible. And then I'll start shifting them around so that the next pieces I put in can be completely saturated. As they get saturated, I stack them up over there on the side. I feel like all the flavors will marinate better in there if I keep them flat like this. So I'm going to put them up there in the refrigerator overnight, and I'm pretty excited. My daughter-in-law is from Jamaica, so she said the recipe looked pretty good and authentic, so I'm kind of excited about getting this all made up. Anyway, the next morning here we are, and it looks good. It's really smelling fantastic before you even get it in the dehydrator. What I'm gonna do, because of course it's pretty liquidy, is turn all the meat on its side so it can kind of drain out now before I start putting it on the racks to go in the dehydrator. I noticed when I'm editing this video that I didn't even drink my morning coffee. I was so excited to get it going. Now about these really fatty sections, I'm going to pull those off. There's going to be a lot of fat in it, but you know, I want that kind of marbling. It really makes it tasty. But of these really big fatty sections, I'm going to pull those off because that'll be just dripping all down in the bottom of the dehydrator if you don't. This is my very first beef jerky dehydrating. I was not sure it would fill up the dehydrator, so I have this much marinade left over, and I also have a little end right there of the pot roast. So I got me a cleaver here. I just wanted to share with you because I was surprised to find it at Walmart. But here it is. It comes inside its own sharpener. So every time you put it in and pull it out, it sharpens it. I'm just going to cut it up real quick, and I'm going to soak it in this marinade maybe an hour, and then I'm going to get the dehydrator started. It is a 6-hour cooking time, and the recipe is 165 degrees. All right, it's marinated for about 1 hour. I'm going to go ahead and put it on the trays and take off the excess fat on this as well. I'm even going to do like a little experiment and see how the flavor comes out. You know, these that I only marinated for about 1 hour compared to the ones that marinated overnight. It's got a lot of the liquid. That's why I'm banging it off right there, because it didn't have time to absorb into the meat. These top 3 are the ones that sat overnight. The leftovers, the bottom 2. It is ready to go, 165 degrees in there for about 6 hours. And this is how it looks after those 6 hours. Some of it is going to have to go back into the dehydrator. I'm going to put it back in there a couple more hours. But I'm picking off the ones that feel and look like they're done. I did taste it. It's delicious. I'm showing you here how much fat is coming out. I'm dabbing this cloth on here just to show you on the camera. Yeah, so a lot of that had to be soaked out of it before I put it in the jars. And then still, it won't be shelf stable. It'll have to be stored in the refrigerator. Or it could go rancid if I leave it in the pantry, you know, on the shelf for more than a couple weeks. I think a couple weeks it will be fine because I do have a sealer where it sucks the air out of the jar. So a couple weeks on the shelf or a month in the refrigerator. That's what we did. Ultimately, it maybe only stayed in my refrigerator a few weeks because the family loved it, so we ate it up pretty fast. Now here's the last tray after the last couple hours of dehydrating. I got 3 quarts, 2 of them are the marinated, and only 1 is the, you know, that only marinated 1 hour. It's foggy because I've already had them in the refrigerator overnight. I didn't pack them real tight, so it's easier to dig out a piece. If you found anything helpful in my video, it really helps me if you will give me a thumbs up, make a comment below, and please subscribe. Bye-bye.